Hey guys, my name is Maestro, and today we've learned about some exciting changes that are going to be coming to Rainbow Six Siege in the very near future. The first one that admittedly I was not expecting whatsoever is that Maestro is actually going to be getting a pretty big nerf. What Ubisoft is doing to him is that now if his gadget gets EMP'd or gets shocked by a Twitch drone, not only is it going to be disabled for a short period of time, which is already the way that it works, but also within that window, while it's disabled, its camera is going to slightly open, so anyone that's directly in front of it can take it out and destroy it with their primary weapon. The reason why Ubisoft is doing this is that they want there to be more counters against him. Right now, Maestro is one of the strongest defenders in the game simply because of his gadget. Yes, he has a great primary weapon, but having something that is almost indestructible just sitting outside of the objective or on the objective gathering information, constantly relaying that to all of the defenders is incredibly powerful. And while of course it does have its counters, like your soft reachers like Sledge, Ash, and Zofia, apparently Ubisoft didn't think that that was enough for him, and so that's why they're making this adjustment. And so I think the reason why I like this adjustment so much is that it's not just a flat-out nerf where Maestro is now just significantly worse. What Ubisoft could have done is just made it so that EMPs and the Twitch drone just hard counter it, where one shock or one EMP just outright takes out the gadget entirely. What they're doing is allowing for more interaction between offense and defense. It's going to force Maestro to actually think about where he's placing them and not just have it in a long hallway like he can do right now. If he placed it on the objective or in locations that he can actually defend it from, this means that even if they do open it on up with an EMP, they're going to have a hard time getting an angle on said camera to be able to take it out. I know that some people are already very concerned that this is going to make him obsolete, and I can kind of see where they're coming from, because if you're playing as Twitch, all you now need to do is shock it once, it opens up the window slightly, and then you just shock it again within that little opening, and then I'm assuming, I think most people are assuming, that it's then going to destroy said camera. That's pretty powerful. And because Twitch now has the highest pick rate on the offensive side, it's going to, of course, be something that Maestro is going to have to work around almost every single game. And so all in all, while this definitely is a really big nerf to Maestro, I'm really curious to see how much of an impact this is going to have on his influence in the long term. Is this going to cause people to gravitate towards other information gatherers like Valkyrie and Mozzie, or are people going to be able to adapt and it's not going to be as bad as a lot of people are expecting? We're really just going to kind of have to wait and see. Now, one change I know that many people are going to be excited about is that Blitz is getting another nerf. What Ubisoft is doing to him is that they're now increasing the cooldown in between flashes from 2 seconds now to 7 seconds. That is a pretty significant difference. 2 seconds doesn't give you a whole lot of time to try to figure out what you need to do when a blitz is charging right at you, but 7 seconds is quite the window. What I find funny about all of this is that Ubisoft even states in the article that they're trying to reduce the frustration of going against this character, and I think this is a good step in the right direction, but it really just demonstrates how difficult it must be to try to balance out this operator. Blitz has gone through a lot of changes. They've made it so that he can sprint. They made him a 2 armor, 2 speed. They've made adjustments across the board. Now he's getting this nerf. They clearly don't know how to make him not only fun to play, they want him to make him a viable operator, but also not something that is incredibly frustrating when you're on the receiving end. And so all in all, well, at least personally, I'm really excited about this news because I don't play as Blitz and I don't like going against him. I know that for players that do enjoy playing as his character, this is going to be a bit of a kick to the shin. 7 seconds is a long time, and if for whatever reason you're not able to flash someone, it can be quite inconsistent to lose an engagement because your gadget is now even more inconsistent, could be quite frustrating. Now, one adjustment that people have been clamoring for ever since his introduction is that Cade's AUG is now going to do 33 damage up close instead of 27. For the the longest time, people have gravitated away from the AUG because it really just didn't have a great damage output, especially when you compared it to his other primary. It just didn't really feel like it got the job done. And so by increasing it to 33 damage, while up close it still requires the same amount of shots to be able to drop someone, at a medium distance, that's where you're going to notice this buff. At longer ranges, your weapon is now going to feel more consistent. It's going to feel like it's going to take less rounds to be able to drop people, and that's really where this weapon was lacking, and so I think this is a great change overall. And so while I don't know if this is necessarily going to make it the preferred option when you play as him, it is now going to make it a much more difficult choice between the two primaries, which I think is a good way at balancing out this operator. Another change that I was not expecting is that Echo is receiving a small nerf. What Ubisoft is doing is that IQ can now detect him while he's using his PDA, while he's viewing his cameras. Echo is always in his cameras, gathering information, relaying that to his teammates, maybe concussing people every once in a while. That's the entire gameplay loop when you're playing as that operator. And so while this definitely isn't going to be a monumental nerf, it is going to require him to be more aware of his surroundings. Are there soft walls nearby that an IQ can take me out from? Do they have an IQ? Could she tell her teammates exactly where I am if I'm constantly in my cameras? These are all things that he's going to have to consider, which of course wasn't something that he had to worry about before. Now, one thing I found really interesting about this article is that Ubisoft included the wins and pick rates of all of the operators. This is something that they've been doing lately. It gives us a glimpse into why they are making some of these changes. And one thing that really sticks out is that Ash's pick rate has plummeted by 20%. You guys probably noticed that the last couple of seasons that Ash has been very powerful. She's constantly played on offense, her aggression and her utility is really strong, and that resulted in her having like a 70% pick rates. Well, it's now down to a 50%, way higher than the majority of all of the other offensive operators, but by removing access to the ACOG, it clearly reduced her viability in a lot of people's eyes, and she's not played nearly as much. What's cool though is that her win rate actually increased slightly. Now, if I had to take a guess for why her pick rate dropped but her win rate increased, is that people that played as Ash are still playing as her, and the people that weren't as good as her have gravitated towards other operators, and so of course the people that know what they're doing still play as her, they're gonna win more, and so that slightly increased that win rate. One thing that was disappointing to learn about this chart though is that Clash, Tachanka, and Castle are not looking good. Their win and pick rates are terrible. Let's just be completely honest. They're at the bottom. And to see that they haven't really gotten any love for really years now. Castle and Tachanka in particular haven't seen an update in years now, is really making me curious why they haven't gotten any rework so far. Now, I understand having underpowered operators is something that only affects them, but when they have been almost obsolete this entire time, I'm hoping that this is going to eventually be a wake-up call to Ubisoft that something needs to be done here. They need a rework, and I think they deserve a rework. Really, in general, the entire defensive chart is really all over the place, especially when you compare it to the offensive side. It feels like offense is a lot more balanced. You'll notice that offense, a lot of the operators are right within kind of the same cluster within their win rate and their pick rate. Of course, there is a scale there, but if you look on the defensive side, they're all over the place. For some reason, Frost has the highest win rate in Platinum and Diamond League. You've got Tachanka, all of them at the very bottom. Jaeger has a 70% pick rate. I don't think they're going to nerf him. I don't even know what they would do to try to reduce that. But it's really inconsistent when you compare it to offense, and so I'm curious to see if this is something that Ubisoft is going to try to remedy in the future. Overall, though, I'm really excited about this upcoming patch. I know that some people are a bit wary about the Maestro nerf, and I can absolutely see where they're coming from, but I think just in general, I really like the direction that they're taking with these changes, and I'm hoping that it's going to be a great direction for Rainbow Six Siege. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I didn't include all of the changes that are going to be coming in this upcoming patch. We literally just made a video about the upcoming buff to Capitao. Noban is going to be seeing some adjustment in Ying, and so if you'd like to learn more about that, I will leave a link to that video down below. Let me know what you guys think about all of these adjustments. Are you excited about the nerf to Blitz? Do you think they're going too far? What about Maestro? Do you think that's going to make him obsolete? Let me know your guys' thoughts down below. But yeah, guys, until next time, have a good one and take it easy.